Sir Keir Starmer today announced his resignation as Prime Minister and Labour leader, clearing the way for a leadership contest to produce new leadership, who would become Britain's seventh Premier in a decade. The process will unveil a new Prime Minister to be in place by the time Parliament returns after the September break. Just 2 years ago, Starmer came into power as UK Prime Minister on a wave of much popularity. It looked like he could do no wrong. The situation has, however, dramatically changed as his government unraveled with many resignations, voters no more enamored, also as scandals emerged from the closet. The days for the UK Chancellor Rachel Reeves, that's the Finance Chancellor, are also numbered as markets watch for who'll be next. So what went wrong and what can we learn? Hello and welcome to Global Business Insights, where we bring perspectives to help you understand an increasingly complex terrain.
It is now up to Labour MPs to do the right thing. I know there are many of them who are horrified by what has happened. We saw that in the House of Commons just yesterday. They might now expect the Prime Minister to take responsibility, but we know he won't. He will have to be dragged out of number 10. So, I am making them an offer. If they want the change they know the country needs, come and speak to my whips, and let's talk seriously about a vote of no confidence to force the moment.
I'm not going to walk away. I don't think we should plunge the country into the chaos of a leadership election.
But if that happens and you stand, wouldn't you be a contributor to that chaos?
I don't think it should happen.
But if it does happen,
I will fight. And let me just be clear with you, that's not about personal vanity. It's not about stubbornness. It's out of a very deep sense of duty. I was elected to serve this country, notwithstanding the difficult circumstances. That is what I am doing. And in the last few weeks, others have made their own case. Mm-hmm. I've been concentrating on the job I was elected to do, which is to deliver for this country. This is about a sense of service and duty.
But I know the question being asked now is not who was best placed to change the Labour Party, to take us into power and to begin the vital work of improving lives for millions of people. Those questions have been answered. The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election. I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question, and I accept that answer with good grace. Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess. In the case of a contest, this will ensure a new leader is in place before Parliament returns in September. I will remain in post as Prime Minister until the contest is complete, and I will do everything I can to ensure an orderly handover of power. I will also give my successor my full and unequivocal support, knowing that they will inherit a Britain that is far stronger and fairer than the one I inherited 2 years ago, better prepared for the challenges ahead, and better able to ensure the Labour Party secures a second term in office.
Starmer did not have a robust plan and conveniently rode the wave of dissatisfaction with the Conservative Party in disarray. Voters have now had their referendum on Starmer, as seen in recent local elections that punished the ruling Labour Party. The Labour Party is now in a panic mode. Starmer inherited fiscal debris from a difficult post-Brexit transition, COVID, Ukraine-Russia crisis, and now the US-Iran war with an external context still tougher than usual to juggle. But there are also lessons to be learned here. First, having a robust plan matters. You may win based on sentiment and voter anger working in your favor, but to hold on to power, you need a plan aligned to your key stakeholder, in this case voters, values and needs. The same with business leadership. Even where the context gives a positive bump, you still need a strategy to accomplish your vision, which includes market strategy and objectives and an internal architecture that will deliver the vision. Vision and plans have to be sold to stakeholders, and the process of navigating implementation must also be visible to be credible. Second, the context may be out of your control. Your response to it cannot be an arrogant, stubborn sticking to the old plot. Sometimes you need many strategic pivots to hold the hearts of stakeholders who keep sending signals on what they can or cannot bear. Listening to Rachel Reeves revealed an almost religious fervor and belief in her rules as she focused on debt ratios, fiscal arithmetic, seeking to impress markets with revelation of a huge fiscal hole that had been inherited from the previous government, which was thought would justify more taxes at a time when voters' wallets were emasculated. She was, I would say, naive to disregard the many significant unquantifiable costs borne by voters. Voters do not understand the fiscal calculus. What they feel is the pain of being laid off, higher direct and indirect taxes in a period where extended crippling inflation and high mortgage rates in an environment heavily dependent on retail credit was really hurting. Third, empathy with voters matters much more than is obvious. A narrow macroeconomic focus can obscure the pain citizens feel, especially when leaders surround themselves with a team of technocratic loyalists who are out of touch with growing frustrations of people. This creates a so-called boiling frog effect. That is, polished speeches and tactical adjustments may seem to calm concerns, but resentment keeps building until it is far too late. The frog has been either boiled to death or it has had its revenge at the polling booth. It is easier to promise everything while in opposition than to govern honestly when fiscal conditions are difficult. Instead of under-promising and setting cautious expectations, Starmer appeared to focus first on winning power and then finding a way through realities he should have foreseen. Changes, when they came, were either late and, in many cases, the repeated U-turns and what was seen as flip-flops further eroded confidence, or were just seen as too inconsequential to be impactful. The opposition was given room to claim that Labour had deceived voters. Looking at lessons for business, sometimes the preoccupation with, say, a new technology like artificial intelligence or geopolitical winds and obsession with cutting costs given high inflation can distract from the basics like customer intimacy, listening to what customers and rare talent want, forgetting that AI is only a great tool, or how cost reduction can hurt morale and annoy customers. Indeed, geopolitical turmoil implies change in many assumptions, but like an executive once said, there are many things that do not change in your business. The fundamentals often remain intact. When you abandon or misread the fundamentals, you can lose competitive strength very quickly. For Starmer, misreading his loyal voter base was the fatal flaw. Fourth is the far shorter half-life of voter loyalty. Call it the time it takes to lose half of what you considered to be a loyal base. This used to be several years, mainly because of the more stable environment. Now it could be few months, as a much more connected and dynamic context encourages a much higher dissatisfaction with status quo, as voters have better understanding of possibilities and their mindset is not so easily manipulated. The result is a new normal where you cannot wait a year to be updated on stakeholder hot buttons. You need to have a far more dynamic and real-time connection with your loyalty base, your competition. The other party most likely will have won. Business is calling for a different, more intimate approach to customer management. Fifth is the impact of social media and faster communication. News that once took days to spread now travels globally in hours, perhaps even minutes and seconds, especially bad news. This can be exhausting and dangerous. Social media accelerates misinformation, distorts reality, and shapes perceptions, especially among younger audiences consuming well-targeted content on mobile devices. Communication must also fit the audience. What works at an economic forum will not resonate with voters who feel costs that surveys and metrics often cannot capture. Managing stakeholder perception and team cohesion is also very critical. Some said the final blow came when Starmer's defense secretary resigned on the ground that the government was not adequately financing its defenses. The context had dramatically altered how people see the whole defense budget. Reform enjoys the novelty advantage of being a new broom, but it faces a steep learning curve with impatient voters waiting. Burnham, or whoever becomes the new Prime Minister, must make strategic pivots that connect with voters and present a credible plan to business. Indeed, there is still a vacuum of a clear UK economic revival plan waiting to be filled. Businesses, like politicians, also underestimate how a changing environment, social media, and influencers are now reshaping customer and buyer values, often in ways unimaginable just 5 years ago. A dynamic geopolitical context makes scenario planning more critical to allow flexibility and agility in a more proactive way so that you can be resilient at a time when many could be imploding. The pound sank to a 2-month low over all the political and fiscal uncertainty. Today's announcement was expected, priced in, also as markets are being assured and are hoping to get a smooth transition. Turning to other geopolitical news, US-Iran talks are reported to have advanced forward a roadmap for a final agreement within 60 days. Qatar and Pakistan, which are mediating the discussions, said negotiators agreed to create a deconfliction cell to help stop the fighting in Lebanon. In a joint statement, Qatar and Pakistan said the talks, which ran into the early hours of Monday, took place in a positive and constructive atmosphere and produced encouraging progress. Tehran also said it had secured waivers for oil and petrochemical exports, easing concerns about a supply shortage in global markets. Brent is just under $80 per barrel as crude oil prices inched lower due to hopes for progress in peace talks, which improved sentiment. Steel market fundamentals suggest a price floor may remain supported with demand well in excess of supply, mainly from restocking depleted inventories. We also have a lingering risk premium given the uncertainty in outcomes in the region. Volatility is likely to also persist as the fragile ceasefire is tested. Well, that's it on this special episode of Global Business Insight. We are now on Spotify, Apple, YouTube podcasts, and most popular platforms where you get your podcasts from. Remember to select the notification button if you subscribe on YouTube. We do use artificial intelligence for generating hashtags, keywords, and for editorial purposes, but we carefully cross-check all facts with primary sources as well. Thanks for watching. This is Bode Oshosami. Bye-bye.